Hello there. It is Wednesday night, November the 9th, 2022. It is hump day, the middle of the week. It is Miraculous. I am really excited about this month's Criterion Collection sale at Barnes& and Noble and everything that's going on in the world of physical media. There is literally so many awesome titles coming out right now. I don't have the space or the time to buy them all, so I'm being very selective about what I pick up. But I'm definitely looking forward to hearing in the comments section what titles you guys are picking up. Did y'all pick up Casablanca this week? Did y'all pick up The Power of the Dog this week? Let me know in the comment section what titles you guys are picking up. But I hope y'all are having a great week. This week is absolutely flying by like I can't even describe it. It's just going by so quickly. I can't believe tomorrow's already Thursday, and I've got a ton of things to get done before the end of the week. But one of those things is I want to come on here and talk about my impressions of these two Criterion Collection editions that have recently come out. So I want to share with you my thoughts. Just wanted to come on here and talk about these two titles, Eve's Bayou from director Casey Lemmons and Daisies. So these are two recent Blu-ray releases from the Criterion Collection. They're currently available at Barnes& and Noble and online at barnesandnoble.com, on Amazon. And they're currently going for 50% off as part of this November sale. So I thought I'd come on here and just share my thoughts on these two titles. Of course, this is that time of year, the November sale, where people are trying to figure out what titles do I pick up. There's so many titles that are currently out there from Criterion that people are thinking about catching up on. And then there's a lot of awesome titles coming out in this month of November. So this is meant to just give you a little bit of information about these titles, just my impressions having gone through these titles, seeing the supplements, taking in the video and audio quality. I'll just share with you my thoughts on all those, and hopefully that'll make you a little bit more informed as you think about, do I want to pick that up or not? Or do I want to pick up something instead? So let us jump into the comments section here and let's see who we have. And then we'll start talking about these titles. We won't be on here too long tonight. Just want to take a few minutes to talk about each of these movies. I'll tell you a little bit of what I think about each film. These are two very different movies, but they're two films from two fascinating women directors that I'm just diving into their filmography and very much looking forward to seeing more from these filmmakers. So I'm going to tell you what I think about the films, what I think about the video, the audio quality, and what I think about the supplemental package on each of these releases, because each of these releases has some pretty nice supplements that I think will give you a greater appreciation for each film. So let's see who we have out here in the comments here. We've got, of course, Jacob. Jacob left here, watched Daisies in the theater with my girlfriend a few weeks back and didn't enjoy it whatsoever. Yeah, it's experimental and has some truly lovely shots, but at no point did I feel connected to the characters. And most of the time I felt like it was a slog to get through. Yeah, we will definitely talk about that as far as Daisies. I can definitely understand that perspective. Adrian saying hello, hello, Jay, hello to me. I'm saying hello to everyone. Looking forward to talking about these films. What's up, Dell? How are you doing? Internet user says hello, hello there. The monkey, greetings, 20th and 21st. My paws are up in anticipation. All right, cool beans. Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about these. Adrian saying hello to everybody. Darvin saying, hey, hello, Darvin. People saying hello to each other. The Georgia YouTubers are lucky. Their B&N stores still have large Criterion sections. The one I go to recently shrunk theirs down when they remodeled. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the locations that I've been to, of course, I'm here in the Atlanta metro area, and some of the stores seem to be pretty well stocked. So I have heard that everyone's experience is not quite so lucky. So there's always barnesandnoble.com and also via Amazon. Doesn't quite replace the tactile experience of being in the store and being able to browse titles, but at least you can get your hands on the titles that you want. Okay. Have you been, Darvin? Okay, people saying hey to each other. The B&N haul comes in tomorrow. Happy about that. Hope you enjoy the titles that you've got in your haul, Darvin. Monkey's glad to hear that Darvin's getting his haul. People saying hello to each other. Awesome. Very nice. Hello, Mika. Hope you're doing well out there. See, Darvin saying hello to Mika. People saying hello back to each other. Dell saying hey to Mika. Smash the like. I appreciate that, Dell. Yeah, people saying hello to everybody. But yeah, so what do I think about these films? I'll just say right off the top, and then I'll jump into each of these movies. I really appreciate both of these films as movies. They're two entirely different movies, but I got to tell you, I really appreciate each of these films. You know, they have some similarities, but they're totally different experiences. And they come from different periods and they come from totally different places. But I wanted to talk about these two particular editions as additions from female directors, new voices in the collection, fairly new voices in the collection. And I just think that what they have to say in each of these films is something that people, that collectors, you know, should take a look at and consider when thinking about what titles to pick up in this particular, you know, sale. So let me go ahead and start off with talking about Eve's Bayou. So let me jump in and talk about that one first. But before I do, I put a if I can pull up what I'm trying to pull up here. I was not wanting to present that. I wanted to present this here instead. So I did a community post the other day just asking what people thought about the current or the new release, The Power of the Dog on 4K Ultra HD, the Jane Campion film that just came out yesterday and that is currently in Barnes and Noble. And just wanted to get a pulse check from the community as to, are you looking to pick this one up or are you not looking to pick it up? Are you interested or not? I'm sort of on the fence. I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to pick up The Power of the Dog 4K or not. So the responses here are pretty interesting. So absolute day one pickup for me. Love this movie. 9% said that. Strongly considering picking this one up. 10% said that. So about 19% are, you know, strongly considering it or absolute day one. So that's 19%. Then you get down to, let's go to the bottom two. Don't think I'm getting this one. There are other titles I want. 38%. And then definitely not for me. This film is not my cup of tea. 17%. So a good 55% fall in that not interested category. But then when you split up the 50-50s, you basically get a 1/3 to 2/3 split. So if you give about half of this 25% to the 19% up here, you're going to get about 32, 33% of people who are likely looking to pick up The Power of the Dog, and about 2/3 who are pretty much saying skip. So let me know in the comment section if you are thinking about picking up The Power of the Dog, or if you've already picked it up. Let us know in the comment section whether or not you would recommend that title for people to pick up in this sale. So let's talk about Eve's Bayou. Eve's Bayou is a very fascinating film. I have seen it for the first time as part of this Criterion Collection edition. And this is a film that is, of course, directed by Kasi Lemmons. So I think in previous videos, I called her Cassie Lemmons. And then in going through the special features, I saw an interview with her and she said Casey. So I was like, okay, well, that's how I need to pronounce her name, Kasi Lemmons. And one of the things I really appreciate about this edition of Eve's Bayou is in the supplements, you do learn a lot about Kasi Lemmons as a filmmaker and a lot about her influences and what influenced her to make her feature film debut, Eve's Bayou from 1997. And it is so fascinating. Oh, is that Siri? It was so... Okay, I don't know. Okay. I think that was Google Assistant or Cortana or somebody. I hope y'all didn't hear that. But anyway, I got distracted there. So anyway, Kasi Lemmons played in The Silence of the Lambs. with Jodie Foster. So that is another excellent addition from Criterion that I would highly recommend. The Silence of the Lambs, directed by Jonathan Demme, the classic film from 1991 starring Jodie Foster, Anthony Hopkins, Scott Glenn. Casey Lemmons played one of the FBI agents along with Jodie Foster. So, great role for her. And she learned a lot from Jonathan Demme about filmmaking, which helped inspire her to make her first feature film, which is, of course, Bayou. And, when you look at the, collaborators who helped her in this project, you have this outstanding cinematographer, Amy Vincent. You have Terrellyn Shropshire here, who edited this movie. Of course, Terrellyn Shropshire also edited this very fascinating film here that I also recommend for the Criterion sale, Love and Basketball. So this is the film from Gina Prince Bythewood, and Terrellyn Shropshire edited this movie as well, which is an amazing film, Love and Basketball. And then, very important to this particular movie, one of the things I love about this film is the mood and the atmosphere, and the music really helps to set the tone for this movie. And Terrence Blanchard here is the musician of this particular film. He also was involved in the music for I think Black Klansman, and you have Hustle and Flow here, who I believe was also edited by Terrellyn Shropshire, either edited by Terrellyn Shropshire or photographed by Amy Vincent. I kind of got that mixed up there, but these are other films that these collaborators have done. In terms of the cast, you're looking at Samuel L. Jackson. He plays Louis Baptiste in this movie. He is one of the main stars. You also have Lynn Whitfield, who plays Roz Baptiste, who is Louise's wife. Journey Smollett here is the younger one here. She is Eve Baptiste. She is what I would call one of the main characters, sort of the center point of the story in many ways, or the story is seen through her perspective, as well as her older sister, Megan Good. And then you've got the wonderful Diane Carroll, who plays Elzora, the witch lady in this movie. Of course, Diane Carroll also played in this amazing film that's in the Criterion Collection that came out in 2020 with James Earl Jones, Claudine. This is another Criterion Collection recommendation. It's Spine 1052 in the collection. This came out in 2020, and there's a review on this channel for Claudine as well as Love and Basketball. But absolutely love Diane Carroll in this role. She is the queen. So she is absolutely wonderful in this role. And then, of course, you have Debbie Morgan, who played just a wonderful role as Moselle Baptiste Delacroix, who is Louise's sister. So she's the sister of Samuel L. Jackson's character. And you just have a great cast for this film. So what is this movie about? Of course, you see Journey Smollett. You see, of course, this is Diane Carroll playing the witch lady, but Journey Smollett is running away there. She's a little girl living in Louisiana. She's part of the Baptiste family. And the story centers around her experiences as a young girl growing up. It's a coming of age story. And her family has a lot of complication and issues going on in their relationships and how they relate to one another. Her father, played by Samuel L. Jackson, is Louis Baptiste. He is the town doctor, and he helps his patients, and he's also a bit of a philanderer. He's running around, and when he's meeting his female patients, he's providing more than medical assistance, so to speak. So he's not being faithful to his wife. His kids know that. That's part of the dynamic of this family relationship. You also have Debbie Morgan, who is the sister, who sees visions as she speaks to people. She's like a psychic counselor, and she has husbands who have passed away here that you see here. Every time she marries somebody, the men pass away. So these are visions of her husbands from the past. And you just have so many incredible dynamics in this family. There are family secrets, there are family traumas, and then there are boundaries that shouldn't be crossed in a family that this film explores incredibly well. And it doesn't necessarily give you all the answers, but it presents the narrative in, I think, an awesome way. So it's a great family story set in a beautiful location in the Louisiana Bayou. And this is just a beautiful, beautiful story and a beautiful film. So the director, Casey Lemmons, wrote and directed this movie. And this is her feature film debut. And it is an absolutely stunning one. So let me just take a moment to read the back of the Criterion case. It says, "The summer I killed my father, I was 10 years old. So begins Casey Lemmon's spellbinding feature debut, an evocative journey into the maze of memory steeped in fragrant Southern Gothic atmosphere. In 1960s Louisiana, a young girl, Journey Smollett, sees her well-to-do family unravel in the wake of the infidelities of her charming father, Samuel L. Jackson, setting in motion a series of deceptions and betrayals that will upend her world and challenge her understanding of reality. Rooted in Creole history, folklore, and mysticism, Eve's Bayou is a scintillating showcase for a powerhouse ensemble of Black actresses, including Lynn Whitfield, Debbie Morgan, and the legendary Diane Carroll as a voodoo princess, as a voodoo princess and the legendary Diane Carroll as a voodoo princess, excuse me, as well as a profoundly cathartic exploration of trauma, forgiveness, and the elusive nature of truth. So that's a lot of the thematic core of this film. It is that's part of the thematic core of this film. Is the elusiveness of the truth and what our memories represent. And we see something and we think we remember things correctly, but our memories can sometimes fail us. And we can trick ourselves into believing that something happened that didn't happen. So those are some of the themes that this film covers. And I was just absolutely stunned and blown away for this to be a feature film debut, and just how great a job this director, Casey Lemmons, did putting this film together. So was absolutely stunning. I think from a music standpoint, the composition was fantastic with Terrence Blanchard. In the special features and the supplements, you learn a great deal about the vision that Terrence Blanchard was given by the director to put together the composition for this particular film, and how he drew on his previous experiences and his philosophy for how do you set the score for a film. And I just thought it was phenomenal. He was a jazz musician, so he brought those experiences and his experiences from other films, working with Spike Lee and some other collaborators, and brought those experiences to this film. And I think developed a composition that really puts you in that Louisiana Bayou atmosphere, and really just sets up the atmosphere of the place that you're in and the mystery of the family's secrets that are explored throughout this story. So absolutely love it. Cinematographer Amy Vincent did a great job with the composition of these shots. I think Terrell Shropshire did a fantastic job with the editing and putting together these scenes and the different imagery that is put together by this whole production team. And you see some of these black and white, photography shots. Just phenomenal work overall by this crew. So it's just a fantastic, coming of age story that I highly, highly recommend. And I really enjoyed this movie as a film. Now, in terms of the video and audio quality, I can tell you that, if you look at the inside of the case, it does say that this is a new 4K digital restoration. It's from the original camera negative, the 35 millimeter camera negative. And you have the original 5.1 surround soundtrack. It was also remastered from the 35 millimeter magnetic track. And so whenever I see original camera negative restored in 4K from the OCN, the original camera negative, not second and third generation prints, that is always a good sign. And the results are clearly evident when you watch this film on Blu-ray. It looks fantastic. Okay. It just has that nice, clean image. It's been beautifully cleaned up, beautifully restored. There's wonderful depth and clarity and detail in pretty much every shot. I mean, the photography just looks beautiful. And given the landscapes and the location of this movie is set in the Louisiana Bayou. So you see all that lush those lush landscapes and the greenery and just the foliage that is in that area, in the trees, and just the entire environment. Being at the festival outside where where Diane Carroll is doing her work as a sort of a voodoo priestess. Just all the colors in that festival, and the colors and the clothing and the dresses and the stitching and the clothing, the detail there, the nighttime shots, just every aspect of filmmaking is beautifully restored and brought to a very nice picture in this restoration. And I was extremely pleased with the picture. The sound also comes across really, really well. So from a technical standpoint, this is an absolute knockout Blu-ray presentation. As I was watching it, I thought to myself, I wonder how much better would this look on a nice 4K disc. And I found myself almost wishing it was a 4K. But then I thought to myself, you know what? This looks just fine. It is so beautiful on this Blu-ray. I'm sure 4K would be a slight improvement, but I think they did such a wonderful job with this restoration that it's just absolutely phenomenal, especially if it's upscaled on a nice TV with a nice 4K player. You're going to be very happy with the picture for Eve's Bayou. It is phenomenal. The supplements for this edition is another great reason to consider picking this up as part of the Criterion Collection sale. There's a very nice collection of supplements for this release. And so when you look on the back here, or actually, I'll just sort of navigate through the menu here since it's up here. There's an audio commentary on here that features Kasi Lemmons, which is excellent. Definitely check that out. But as you look at the supplements, you'll see here, the first supplement up here is called Dr. Hugo, which is a great, great supplement to watch. It's basically it's a short, probably I think a 20-minute short, which is a sort of a early version of this full-length feature movie, Eve's Bayou. It was her first draft, if you would, or her first attempt to put together this story. And so she used different actors for this little short that she put together. She used a different actor who played the doctor, and that actor happened to be Vondi Curtis Hall, who would become her husband. Vondi Curtis Hall also played in Eve's Bayou as Julian Greyraven. But in this short, Dr. Hugo, he actually played the Samuel L. Jackson character. And it was interesting seeing him in there. It also had Victoria Rowell in that short. Victoria Rowell, of course, who played in The Young and the Restless. She played one of his patients. She appeared in that short, but she also appeared in the feature film Eve's Bayou as well. So it was really interesting seeing the short that she did before she made the feature film. It was sort of a proof of concept to make sure, okay, does this actually work narratively? Can I make this a full-length feature film? And so it was neat to see that. You also see a nice interview with Kasi Lemmons, which is absolutely phenomenal. She talks about her background and where she came from and her influences and what influenced her to write this story and make this film. A lot of it came from her experiences spending, time with her grandmother, and and where her grandmother lived is part of the inspiration for the location of this film. So that was awesome. And she also talked about her inspiration from filmmakers like Jonathan Demme, who she played in with Silence of the Lambs. Jonathan Demme was the director, so she learned a lot about filmmaking from director Demme. So I thought that was interesting. So that was great. And then you have a nice cast reunion, which I thought was super cool. So there was a cast reunion where, it was one of those Zoom calls, where you had Kasi Lemmons up here, the director. This is a horrible picture. I took a picture from my small TV here. You have Lynn Whitfield on the Zoom call. You have Journey Smollett. This is like a 25th anniversary or something like that Zoom call. And you have Terrence Blanchard here, the composer, and Megan Good, who, of course, was one of the actors. She played the bigger sister. So just a fantastic Zoom call. Debbie Morgan was not able to be on this Zoom call, but she recorded a video, I think on her cell phone, and she had some wonderful words to share to Kasi Lemmons and the whole cast, and they were able to insert that in there as well. So this was a very nice Zoom call. And then you have Terrence Blanchard, of course, the composer who composed the wonderful score of this movie. He talks about his experiences scoring the film. So overall, Eve's Bayou is definitely more than highly recommended. This comes in a two-disc edition, two Blu-ray disc edition. Of course, I have the director's cut disc in here that's playing the menu, but there's also the theatrical release on this second Blu-ray disc, and that's fantastic. You get a nice fold out here, Eve's Bayou, which is nice. So love that. Let me remove this so you can see this a little bit more. But check that out. Isn't that cool? And you get a nice essay in here, The Gift of Sight by Kara Keeling, which is super duper double looper cool, but just fantastic. The inside of the case, also very, very nice with the imagery there. But this is an absolutely beautiful film. Kasi Lemmons describes this movie as an African-American Southern Gothic melodrama. So, it's her directorial debut, and it is an absolutely stunning one. It is Eve's Bayou, comes in at spine number 1154 in the Criterion Collection, and it is highly, highly recommended. This is a title that I don't know if it'll crack the top 10 for me in terms of my top 10 by the end of this year, but I think it will certainly at least be an honorable mention. So that is how much I think of this particular title of Eve's Bayou. Fantastic film, stunning directorial debut from Kasi Lemmons, and I simply cannot recommend it enough. Eve's Bayou. So yeah, that is definitely one. If you've been thinking about picking that one up as part of the Barnes and Noble sale, go ahead and get it. It is a really, really good one. So let's see. Let me get caught up on some of these comments here. Sending a text. Sorry about that. So let's see here. Let me get caught up on some of these comments. Smash like. All right. See, Darvin got Citizen Kane, Eraserhead, and Parasite for my first haul. Wow. Nice haul. Nice haul. Citizen Kane, great addition. I love the supplements on there. A lot of people are not in love with the packaging. Don't worry about that. The supplements are absolutely worth it. You really get the definitive version of Citizen Kane in that package from Criterion. I mean, so many great supplements on there that really help you understand the importance of that movie. Eraserhead from David Lynch, great. Parasite, one of my favorites. So good. I don't like to get political on here, but I hope you voted. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Darvin, I agree. I agree. Well, all right. This is not a political channel, but of course, in the state of Georgia, we are going to a runoff for the Senate race. So that will be interesting. So we'll be bombarded with a lot of commercials over the next few weeks up to December the 6th. See, I agree. Eraserhead is a must-have. It's iconic and a timeless treasure. Yeah, it's really something. I watched it for the first time a few months ago. Okay. Called A Perfect Film. Okay. Eve's Bayou is such a great film. I agree. Eve's Bayou is absolutely extraordinary. I was really blown away by this movie. I have to say, if somebody asks, hey, do I recommend this movie? I recommend it as a movie. It is fantastic. And I recommend it in this Criterion Collection edition because the supplements, I think, are just phenomenal. I mean, you learn so much about Kasi Lemmons. That interview with her telling her story, her inspiration, her experiences as an actress, of course, playing in Silence of the Lambs, playing in other areas, and how she got into filmmaking and her experiences, working with different filmmakers. Just phenomenal. Great stuff. Yeah, it's great. I agree. I still need to watch Eve's Bayou. Yes, Darvin, watch it for sure. I love Eve's Bayou, but it's time for a rewatch. Do it, Del. Do it, man. I would recommend Kino's 4K of Silence of the Lambs. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how the supplements compare. This is, of course, the Criterion edition, Silence of the Lambs. Will be interesting to see how Kino's, compares. Let's see. Just grabbed the Criterion this week. Awesome. Film. I can never watch Monk the same way again. Okay. Hey, well, hello, Bob. How are you doing? You doing all right? The cast was so stellar, just great performances across the board. Yeah, absolutely. The cast is just awesome. I mean, the two young girls at the time, Journey Smollett and Megan Good, just great, fantastic, just great, fantastic. I mean, they are so good in this. They are okay. This assistant, okay, Cortana or whatever it is keeps popping in, but they are so good in this movie. And of course, Lynn Whitfield and Samuel L. Jackson, Debbie Morgan, and Diane Carroll, Nicole Carson. Everybody's phenomenal, phenomenal in this movie. Basement Blues. Tony says, "Hey, Tony, I caught your Criterion video. It was excellent, excellent. I haven't been to that location yet. I went to the one over in Alpharetta, but I got to check out that one probably on my next swing through. So glad you enjoyed it, James. One of my all-time favorites. Yeah, it's so good. Excited to watch it. Good. Purchase it and need to watch. Yep, indeed. I have not bought Frownland. Let us know what you think of Frownland in the comments. Yeah, it's really a beautiful movie. When I think about this particular film, Eve's Bayou, it's an absolutely stunningly beautiful film. That's another similarity with the next film I'm going to talk about in terms of the beautiful imagery. So, see, Gus, hi everyone. I totally want to check out Eve's Bayou. You totally need to, Gus. Totally need to. Definitely recommended. Can't really see the menu, James. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. You can't see the menu. But yeah, as far as the supplements, you have the audio commentary. You have the Dr. Hugo, which is a 1996 short film that was a proof of concept for Eve's Bayou. You have the interview with Lemmons, cast reunion footage, which was a Zoom call. You have an interview with the composer Terrence Blanchard. So just fantastic, fantastic. You have a feature showing the black and white Polaroids that Amy Vincent, the cinematographer, took during the production. Great stuff. Visually fantastic. I would love to see it on 4K. I would as well. Journey Smollett has turned out to be a really good and underrated actress. Yeah, she is, and loved her in Lovecraft Country. I have not seen that. Wow, Lynn Whitfield has not aged at all. Yeah, just fantastic. Ageless beauty. Mika, we deserve a season 2 of a great show. See, so EB is like a ghost story. In some way, I don't know if I would call it that, but the character Debbie Morgan has visions. She sees things. She's able to sort of see things in people's lives, and in her own experiences, she's able to see like her husband's, when they were alive, or like, I guess, visions of her husband's. And there are scenes in this movie that they do a really nice job of, like, almost having her step into the past through a mirror. Brilliant filmmaking. You definitely have got to see it. So, Eve's Bayou, go get it. Let us switch gears to the next film, and it is a film from that for me is part of the whole discovery aspect that I really love about Criterion. I had never seen Eve's Bayou, just watched it this past week. Absolutely love this. And I also just watched this film here, Daisies. So let's talk about Daisies. Let's talk about this wonderful, wonderful film. So this is the film that is from director Vera Chytilova. So it is a 1966 Czechoslovakian surrealist comedy drama. So it's a surreal comedy drama, Czech New Wave film from Vera Chytilova. So she was part of the Czech New Wave from the 1960s. This title is actually an upgrade. It's not new to the Criterion Collection. It is an upgrade of the Eclipse Series 32 Pearls of the Czech New Wave DVD. Let me know if y'all have that in the comments section. I've never purchased that Eclipse series. And it comes in now as a new spy number 1157 in the collection. So it comes in as a standalone release on Blu-ray with its own spy number 1157 in the Criterion Collection. Now, Vera Chytilova did a film called Pearls of the Deep that precedes Daisies. And shortly thereafter, she did this film, Daisies. So this film is written and directed by Vera Chytilova that you see here. And this is Vera Chytilova with her cinematographer, who became her husband, Yaroslav Kuchera. So they collaborated on this film. And of course, that's Vera Chytilova. This film stars Zhitka Cherhova as Marie 1. So both of these stars play Marie 1 and Marie 2. They're both named Marie in this film, but Zhitka Cherhova, the brunette, played Marie 1. And you have Ivana Karbanyova. Ivana Karbanyova played Marie 2. So she's the blonde in this film. And here you see them here. You see, of course, Ivana here, the blonde, and Zhitka right here. They are just two young ladies just doing crazy things and having fun. So if you ask, what is this movie about? This movie has a very interesting backdrop. Of course, it's part of this whole Czech New Wave cinema. And I don't know a whole lot about it, which is why I wanted to explore this movie. But it's basically a surrealistic tale of two young girls who are basically rebelling against society, pushing back on social norms, who are, pushing back on the stereotypical, boxes that that society tries to put women in defining what is the appropriate role for women in society. They push against that, and they basically rebel against it and go their own way. And so you see them going through different vignettes in this movie where they're pulling pranks, just basically, living on the edge, doing their own thing and doing what they want to do. And so a lot of this film has to do with their interactions with, older men, going on dates with older men who are trying to take advantage of them, but they end up turning the tables on the older men, and they take advantage of the older men and basically, leave them hanging. They pay for their meals, and they basically, go to the train station, get on the train with the man, then they jump off the train and send him on his way. So just crazy stuff. But this film doesn't have what you would call a conventional narrative. It just shows these girls in different scenes in their apartment doing different things. It shows them out in restaurants with these older men, and it shows them going about the fields and areas in this particular area of Czechoslovakia. And in each of the venues that they're in, doing the crazy things they're doing, this film does an amazing job of framing up artistic, beautiful imagery. I mean, this is an absolutely stunningly beautiful, artistic looking film. And it's just one of those films that it doesn't have a conventional story to it. So there's no like real plot that's driving this narrative. You may ask yourself, where is this movie? Where is this going? And the answer is they're just doing their thing. So it's not really going, it's not really following a conventional, narrative, objective driven story. It is just a free form display of artistic images as these girls are gallivanting around the country, rebelling against society. So, but this film is absolutely amazing in its artistry. So when you see here on display here, you see them sitting here. It does a great job of experimenting with different colors. So you'll see that there are scenes that appear in regular black and white, sepia tone black and white, this different types of monochromatic black and white colors. You'll see that some scenes will be shot in this red tint, green tint, yellow tint, blue tint. It'll flip back and forth, and they'll do certain artistic things like in a particular scene, there's a ticking of a clock. And with each tick of the clock, the color will change in the scene. And they do all these really inventive and imaginative things with colors and camera setups and visualizations. So it's very much an experimental film that puts a lot of artistic visions on display. So that really is the gist of what this movie's about. It's really a collage movie. So listen to the when you listen to the feature commentary, you'll hear that it's largely a collage movie. It's a collage of beautiful images, and I'll show you here on the Criterion site because I think you have to sort of see it for yourself to really understand what it is that I'm talking about here. So let me share with you what I'm talking about. Of course, here's the power of the dog here. I'm sure some of you have picked up this title from the Criterion Collection. But if we go here to new releases, we shall see that Daisies is one of those new releases. So let me show you here. Of course, this here is the Pearls of the Czech New Wave. This is the DVD box set that this film Daisies was a part of back in the day. Of course, this is still available to purchase, the Eclipse set, but now Daisies is available as its own standalone Blu-ray release, which is super cool. But if you look here in this section here, you'll see some of the images that are on display here. I mean, it's just full of color, various, the imagery is just absolutely stunning in this movie. It is a very artistic, avant-garde, high art type cinema is the best way I can describe it. And it's very experimental. Some of the train sequences are like time lapsed and they show it in different colors. And it's very artistic the way they show, this time lapse type photography with the train sequences and just so many different artistic visions that they're presenting on the screen, but it does not follow what you would call a conventional narrative. So if you were to ask, do I recommend this movie? I'll just tell you straight up, it really depends on if you're into artistic type, cinema like this, then I think you should strongly consider it. If you have an interest in the Czech New Wave or foreign cinema of this type, then definitely consider picking it up. But if you're the type that you appreciate more of a conventional narrative and story and plot and a more coherent story behind the work, this is probably not going to be a film for you unless you really can appreciate this type of a film. So that would be my caution to anyone who is considering picking this one up. But in terms of how does it look on this Blu-ray in terms of from a video standpoint, well, the video is a 4K digital restoration. It's from the original 35 millimeter original camera negative, and the monaural soundtrack is remastered from the original sound negative and original magnetic mixing tapes. So the bottom line is this film looks and sounds great. The imagery in this film is a big part of the reason to watch this movie, and it comes across stunningly beautiful on this Blu-ray in terms of every scene where they're switching back between different colors and different, whether it's red to green to blue to yellow to monochromatic or black and white or sepia. It's beautifully realized, beautifully restored and cleaned up. There's a lot of nice detail. Like I saw, pictures where one of the characters would be in a blanket. You can see the stitching, the detailed stitching in the blanket or the detailed stitching on clothing. It's just a beautifully restored film. And so it's a piece of art. It's like a moving painting is what this movie is. And it is absolutely beautifully restored on this Blu-ray presentation. So from a technical standpoint, it is absolutely phenomenal. And then as far as the special features are also quite nice on this release, similar to Eve's Bayou. So as far as the special features on here, of course, you get an audio commentary on here as well. This audio commentary is from film scholars Daniel Bird and Peter Haynes. Now, I think that commentary is actually very good because it explains a lot about the different characters who appear in this movie and their backstories. It comes across as a little bit dry, but is very informative. So the audio commentary is very good. You get a nice interviewer, a nice interview, new interview with film programmer Irina Kovaronov, uh, Kovarova, which is very good. And then there's a nice documentary over here on here from 20 years ago, from 2002, about Vera Chytilova that is very informative. So it gets really personal. It shows her in her home. It shows her, doing different things such as, doing home movies, as you see here. So just absolutely phenomenal. I really enjoyed that documentary. And then there's another documentary on here about Vera Chytilova and her collaboration with the cinematographer and the screenwriter. Of course, the cinematographer, Yaroslav Kuchera, was her husband. So talks a lot about that collaboration. And then you get a couple of short films on here as well, which is very nice, from Chytilova, A Bag Full of Fleas and Ceiling. So very nice. As you look on the inside, check out the interior here. Very nice. This disc has the art of butterflies on here, which is a very interesting scene in this movie. Again, each scene is like a vignette showing a different artistic theme to it. And one of those themes was butterflies. And it's just absolutely beautiful. If you look on the inside of the disc case, check that out. Phenomenal. Fantastic. And then you get a very nice little fold out here of the Daisies release from the Criterion Collection. You get the sense that there is, like was described before, it's a collage movie. It's a collage of different images that you are presented with in this movie. And it's really about these young ladies who are rebelling against the norms of society and rebelling against the oppression of the communist state, which was a big part of the Czech New Wave movement. So phenomenal movie. I really enjoyed it. I like this type of cinema. It's a movie that I'm on my second viewing of watching this film and just letting it sort of wash over me. But it's one of those things where, as I said before, it's one that I can't recommend to everybody because this is not a film for everybody. If you're not into this type of, high art, avant-garde, cinema that doesn't follow a conventional narrative, that's sort of a little bit more artsy fartsy, so to speak, this is probably not going to be a film for you. But if you're, interested in exploring something like this is definitely one that I think will reward you, and you'll learn a lot more about the Czech New Wave, something that I know very little about, and I'm beginning to learn about as I go through this release. And I just found it absolutely fascinating. So definitely consider it if you are considering diving into the Czech New Wave and maybe learning a little bit more about Czechoslovakian cinema. But this is the film from Vera Chytilova, Daisies. Absolutely phenomenal package from Criterion. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on these two films, on Yves Bayou and the wonderful film Daisies from Vera Chytilova. Let me go back to the comments section to see what people think about these films here. So Darwin says, Daisies. I really love Daisies. I like it as well. I mean, the more I see it, the more it's growing on me because I really appreciate the artistry behind it. I mean, there was a lot that went into the making of this movie. You really get to appreciate it as you go through it. I still have to check out Daisies. It's on the list. I haven't seen Daisies. All right. I've watched it. Such a surreal movie. Very surreal. Very surreal. Celeste was right when they said it was similar to Hasu. Yes. Yes. It's sort of a mishmash between you take Godard and Hasu and put them together and you kind of have Daisies, Let's see, mainly in style. There's a few scenes where the film has a anaglyph effect. Okay. I'm not sure what that is. I'll have to look that up. You have me curious. Got me some Criterions today. All right, Ken, what thought about grabbing that Yves Bayou? Ken, get Yves Bayou. Get Eve's Bayou. I'm not sure I would recommend this one to you, but Eve's Bayou, definitely get this one for sure. This is if I did a top 20 Criterion editions for 2022, this would probably assuredly would make that list. It has a chance of making my top 10, but I think it will at least be an honorable mention. So, but yeah, Ken, I hope you got some good pickups. I'm fine with the arts. I'm fine with the artsy, not so much the fartsy though. Okay. Yeah, artsy fartsy. But yeah, so I really do appreciate everybody joining tonight. I thought I'd come on here and just share my thoughts on these two fantastic releases in the Criterion Collection. These are both excellent releases from Criterion. I can definitely recommend Eve's Bayou. It's more mainstreamy, that I think more people can appreciate. This one here, a little bit more on the artsy, fartsy side, avant-garde. So if you're into that, definitely check this one out. But I love both of these editions, and I love that Criterion is diving more into directors of color, more into female directors, bringing more artistic filmmaking voices into the collection, into this great tent that we call Criterion. So these are both editions that I can certainly recommend. But let me know in the comments section what you think about these movies. Of course, what's coming up, what is coming up on this channel. Of course, we did this review and impressions of Eve's Bayou and Daisies tonight. This weekend, look for an Arrow video review of this film here, Videodrome. This will be coming out this weekend on the channel. Videodrome is my favorite David Cronenberg film. And this movie, spoiler alert, the 4K is freaking awesome, okay? I mean, the Criterion Blu-ray looks great. This, fantastic. So I will share my thoughts on this over the weekend, but this is Videodrome, Arrow Video, 4K limited edition. Great film. James Woods, absolutely phenomenal movie. So look for that review. And, we're going to cover more Criterion Collection goodness, of course, with the sale going on through November 28th. But of course, next week we have Infernal Affairs trilogy coming out. So looking forward to picking that up. But let me know in the comments section, what you think about these two films. Let me know what else you're picking up in the Criterion Collection sale. Here's a couple of quick recommendations. I have not watched this one yet, La Llorona, but I can definitely recommend Cure. I've done a review of this title on this channel. Amazing release. Cary Grant in Arsenic and Old Lace. Really nice release. Light on the supplements, but nice film. And David Lynch's Lost Highway on 4K Ultra HD. This looks phenomenal. So definitely consider that. But thanks for joining me tonight, everybody. Hope y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday night. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time at the movies. Have fun in the Criterion Collection sale. Peace, everybody. Have a great rest of the week.